This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so we have done two sessions. We talk about the Appian and we talk about the Appian objects, what it is and how it works. What's the use of each objects that we are going to use. Before we start, do you guys have any question in that? If you want to know anything, please let me know. Any questions, guys? No? All right. Has anyone think about any of the use case, what we are going to use? Which use case we are going to work? Any ideas, anyone? Come on, guys. That's not a typical question. I'm just asking. Have you guys decided any use case that you want to create while we develop the application? Yes, no? Okay. So let's discuss about the use case. Shall we go with the lead management? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, we are.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
Let
So
me
yeah,
take something related to the bank.
bank.
Yeah,
Do you want to go with the new account opening process?
loan processing or new account opening something.
Okay. Let's go with the new account opening then, right? So new account opening will have like process like we'll consider if the customer is already onboarded, so we can consider that existing customer. If it's not, then we can also have a create customer, right? So where we can onboard a customer and then add their account, right? Make sense for everyone? So maybe we may go with the loan account, we may go with the any other account type like saving accounts, current account, demat account. If they want to create a new account, we can do like that. Everyone is okay with that? Yes, no? Okay, I'll consider that as a yes then, and we'll create a new account opening process application. I see few of the new faces, I believe. Shivani, I think this is your first class, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you're not, if you haven't gone through the previous recordings, we didn't talk about any technical there. We just talk about the how Appian works, what's the Appian project, and how it's all those things. So just have a look of the previous videos. You can
Okay,
make.
okay.
Yeah. All right. All right. Then let me quickly share my screen. So Shivani, you aware of this Appian environment, how it works? It's working environment where we do the development.
So actually, I'm having little idea about it, but not
Okay,
that much.
that's fine. But you know about where do the development, right? I mean the Appian
Yes,
UIs and
yes.
all here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. All right. Okay, so this is the practice environment that we have where we do the practice. We create all these applications. So right now, what we are going to do is that we are going to create an application for the new account opening process. Right. So how do we create a new application? We simply we click on the new application link here. And as we are going to create a new account opening process, we'll say new account open, right? So we can have this application name, new account open process, maybe, right? So this application will create accounts for customers. All right. Now, when we create this application, what do we see? We need to divide. We need to provide the name of the application, right? And then it gives you the prefix. What's the use of prefix? Prefix is basically used to define your uniqueness of your every object. Let's say if you try to use certain prefix which is already in being used, In that case, it will say a message that you cannot use this prefix. This is already being used in some other application. For an example, let's say if I'm going to use W502, this is one of the prefix that I have. It says that the prefix is already in use. Okay, so we cannot use this prefix. So your prefix should be unique based on your application's name. So as you see that it takes NAOP, the first letter of all the words that we have. You can put a nice and good description about the application, what it's gonna do, and then we have a checkbox generating objects and folders to secure the organized object. If you don't check it, still your application will get created. It just Appian gives you, for your easiness, it creates certain objects which helps you to not to create by manually all those objects. So when you check this checkbox, for your easiness, for your for your help, it will create 7 objects that you need to create manually. So Appian is going to create it for you. Okay. So when we click on create, we'll come and we'll talk about this security. Don't worry about it. But yeah. So what it does is that you see that it has created 2 groups, NAOP administrator and NAOP users. What is the NAOP? It's a prefix of our application. So it has created 2 groups, right, just to secure our application, where the NAOP administrators are having the admin role and then users are having the viewer role. Okay, we'll talk about each role, what it does basically. Save it. Once we save, our application will get created, and it will give you the some overview, like what kind of application you want to do, and if you wanted to have some want to have some UI samples, you will get it straight away. You can go to the build. Inside the build, it will have all the objects that it has created. Now you can see that it has created 7 objects. These 7 objects are 2 groups that we have seen. Each group is for security level, right? Whoever the users are, they need to be part of this group. We have one process model folder. In this folder, we will be storing all the process models that we will be creating inside our application. And then we have a knowledge center. This knowledge center is a document repository in Appian itself. So Appian allow you to store the documents, where inside the knowledge center you can have multiple folders, and these folders are the document folders. And then we have one rule folder where we will be keeping our expression rules, constants, interface rules. All those rules will be part of this folder. So eventually, if you don't check that checkbox, this won't be get created, but you have to create it manually. But for your easiness, Appian has given that checkbox. Okay, so that you check it and all the 7 objects will be there. Any question till here, guys? How did we create an application, and what are the 7 objects that we have? Any questions? No? At least you can say no, right? Please be interactive, guys. Otherwise, it will be very boring. I'll come, I'll speak, and I'll go. All right. So as we are talking about the new account opening process, right? What do you guys think? What should be the first thing come in your mind? What we should have it, considering that new account, we need to open a new account for a customer.
So basically, we need KYC documents.
So first of all, there could be 2 scenarios, right? The scenario is that the customer is already onboarded, right? I mean, you already have an account with the bank, and second would be a new customer is going to onboard it, right? So you need to think in a scenario that if you already have an account, already have a customer, then you need to have a search feature where you can search for a customer and then create an account for that customer, right? And the second scenario would be that a customer is not available to your bank itself. So first you need to create the customer and then create an account for them, right?
Yeah.
So imagining we have a customer. So what are the things we need to have it? What are the tables we need to have in in my database already existing? So if I talk about the tables, what are tables I should have? I should have NAOP customers, right? What are the details we think that we should have for the customers table? This is the table name, okay? We should have customer ID, first name, middle name, last name, email, date of birth. Come on, guys. What else?
phone number, address.
Let's say phone number. Or let's say mobile. Will have is active or not. For address, let's say we think like address is separate table. We can't keep everything in the same table. So maybe the address is in some other table, and then we do the foreign key with the customer ID. That's fine. Now let's say these are the information we need for a customer, right? That the customer is available to the bank. If they are already have an account, so definitely we will have one more table for accounts, right? Where we can have account ID, we can have customer ID, right? And this customer ID will be the foreign key for this table, right? So that we can know for this customer how many accounts we have in this table. We can have account type, we can have balance, account status, like it is active account or on hold account, or maybe deprecated account. And then what else? Account ID, customer ID, account type, balance, and account status, right? I think that's it. And we should always have one reference table for the data that we are going to refer in our system. So for the reference table, let's say we need to have first of all ref ID and category. What is the categories for? Like let's say for if we want to refer some status, in progress, active, approved, rejected, on hold. So all those will be kind of comes in the status category. So status category, and then we will have multiple values, and then we'll have the display name, and then we have is active, right? So this is the reference table that we are going to create. We can also have a category called account type, where we can define multiple account types. Let's say saving account, current account, demat account, loan account, such kind of things we will be referring in the reference table. So to start our application, and considering that a customer has already onboarded, even though customer is not there, we at least we need this much information, right? So before starting any of the application, the very important thing is that we should have a proper data model. If you have a proper data model, you will not have to make much changes in the later stages, right? So if you remember, I mean, if you are working already with the customers, you know that first they define the personas, and then they define the data model of the application, which is very important. See, every applications, every program language allows you to make the changes, but it's very difficult on the later stages if you want to make some changes in your data model. Especially adding is fine, adding a new column is fine, but never try to delete any columns from the existing. You just leave it blank, that's fine, but never try to delete the columns from the database, right? Because we never know how many places we are going to use those columns, right? So everywhere we have to go and fix that, and your record will be connected with the table. So before deleting, you have to make sure that it's not reflecting most of the places, and if it is, then we have to make sure correction, we have to do the correction all the places. Okay, adding is still fine. You can keep adding your number of columns to the data table, and it will you need to reflect to your record, which is fine. All right, and also do not try to change the name of the columns as well. Think before creating a record, make sure that you have all those ready with you. Okay, any question till here, guys, in this data model that we have decided?
No, Ramesh.
Okay, now why Appian is we'll see one quick example of the Appian. And as I said, right, if you guys remember, I mentioned that the Appian record is the backbone of Appian development. Appian record is very powerful object, and it can handle most of the things in your application. And why Appian is very famous, because it gives you the quickest way of creating the application if you have a proper data model, right? So in our case, let's say if I'm going to have a reference data. Sarita, you want to say something? All right, so if you want to create see how the Appian quickly creates everything for you, it creates the objects for you, it creates the process model for you, it creates everything, interface for you, right? So let's see one quick example with the reference table, because we need to get a reference table, and we need to see how we can add a screen where we can go and add our reference data. We can go and create an action on the reference data, like if I want to update anything, if I want to create a new one, if I want to delete anyone, all those things we can create it very easily. Okay, all right, so let me quickly share my screen back. All right. Now someone asked me yesterday that what if I don't have the database access, right? Because initially right now it is giving you the database access, cloud database, and then you can go and then in your work you can see that cloud database access. Now what happens if you don't have the database access? Can't we create application in the Appian? It's not like that. We can still do that. Everything can be done by the record. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a new record type. Okay, and then I'm going to give the name as NAOP reference data. Okay, so this is an NAOP reference data. This record will have the list of reference items for NAOP application. Let's create. Right. So as we are going to learn this record type is basically 4 types of record type. We have it in Appian. One is the database, and you will see all those things here. So when you create a new record, it says tell us about your data. So when you click on that, then you will see all the 4 types. One is the database, one is the process, Salesforce, and web services. What these are, it means that what could be your data entry point, from where you can bring the data. So definitely first one is the database that we are going to use, because our data will be residing in the database, right? So any database, it's not like the in-house database that Appian has. You can connect with any of the database and you can get the data back from the any table. Okay, second is the processes. So whenever we execute a process model in the Appian, it creates a instance of the process, right? That process model. If you want to create a report out of that process instance report data, you can create this process report. Third is that Salesforce. If you have a Salesforce account and you need to bring the data from the Salesforce, you can create a data source from the Salesforce. And fourth one is the web services. which allows you to bring the data anywhere from the world. It's a third party data. Okay, so if you want to create a data source or a record from anyone and any third party query, you can go with the web services call. In our case, we do not have a table created yet. Imagine we don't have the table access, so we go with this option. I want to start from the scratch because I need a table first so that I can create a database record. So I'm going to create a new data model. Hit next. Data fabric, yes, we want to go with the data fabric because we need to bring the data, update the data. We create a new data, so we'll go with the hit next. By default, it gives you 4 columns: ID, created by, created on, modified by, modified on. If you want to have these columns, which is fine, let it be. Now let's say I want to have one column called category. What should be the type of category? It should be text like status, maybe account type, maybe something else if you need, some drop down values if you want to have it. So that will be the category, and then we will have a display value for that. That will also be a text based on the column that we decided, right? And then finally we can have one more column called is active, if that reference item is available or not. So we can have an is active as a type of boolean. So what it is going to do, it is going to create a column in the database. Okay, any question till here, guys?
Ravi, so what if in future if you need to add some new columns?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. That's not an issue. You can do that from the record itself. But yeah, do you have any question till here?
No.
Okay. All right. Then we hit a next. Once we hit a next, right? I don't want all this relationship for now because you will get confused. I'm just tilting because it's try to see the relationship available in the system, any customer table, and create a new relationship. We'll come to this point and see how the relationship works. Don't worry about that. Once we hit next, what it's gonna
Ravi,
do?
one quick question over here.
Yeah.
So we can add any field. Suppose if I want to add field in between, so whether that order gets matter. Or
No. Order doesn't get matter, but it's always good to have in a proper order so that you can know. It doesn't matter. Order doesn't matter.
no, for
Right?
initial at initial level, right? We are doing the same way, right? Whatever we want.
Hmm.
But suppose the
Right.
later addition, and that is related to suppose after categories of subcategories there. So we need to add in between, right? So that is
Hmm.
allowable. Then that is
Yeah,
allowed.
that is allowed. Yeah, it's allowed. You can do that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So we are not referring anywhere the specific indexing, right? Column
No.
first, column second.
No,
Okay.
for the column names, it doesn't require the indexing. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
It understand if you just provide the column name, it understand that okay, which index you need to refer by the column name.
Okay. No worries. Thank you.
Then we have this create table checkbox we need to, and then if you want to have the database script, want to see that, you can see that here. Now we need to see the click on the save changes, right? Record type successfully updated. If you want to download the database script again from here, you can do that. Otherwise, close it.
The script can be downloaded later on also, or at the time of creation only.
In here you need to download it from right now. Otherwise, you can do it from the later as well from the database. So if you go here, cloud database, work ID, and then if you see here, it should have NAOP reference data. So this table was created by Appian now. ID, category, display value, all those things that we had is now it's available.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So table gets created. All right. Now, if the table gets created and we have this record, but we don't have anything in the record to view as of now, right? So what we need to do, we need to create an action for the record, because if I click the record here, it will open that record into the tempo page, and if you see here, it has everything is blank. right? No data item. But what we need to do, we need to create certain action so that I can add multiple records to the system itself. So for that, we need to go to the actions tab here, and I'll ask Appian to create the actions for me. So I'll say generate the record action. Now it gives you three options: create, update, or delete. So let's go with the first one, as a create, generate the action. How many objects we have? Only 8 items, right? We created this record and 7 objects were there. So we have only 8 items. Let's see what happens. Now you see that it created one action, right? Now if I go back to my reference data and refresh this page, new NOP reference data. If you want to do some customization, you can do that. Just click on this edit icon. I can give the name as add reference data. Okay. Now this is the process model. With my work ID, create new NOP reference data. This is the new process model that Appian has created. By default, the Appian creates that object under your workload ID. One second. Huh? Sorry. So by default, Appian creates the object under your workload ID because it has created, when you log in, it will create a sandbox environment with your workload ID. So it comes here. What we need to do is that we need to bring this to our environment. So I'll take the move to app, NAOP. Okay, so I'll just bring it here. What happens by default, it creates it there. All right. So Appian creates two objects for you. One is the process model and one is the interface. Okay. Now let's see what happens if I click on this button. It says, didn't I save it? No, save the changes. Add reference data. Just click on it. I'll say category is status and display value is approved, is active true. So done. I'll say create. Added. We can have few more. So I'm gonna say category is status. Rejected is active true. Create. All this interface that you are seeing is also done by created by the Appian. On hold is active. Okay. Right now, if you go to the database, open this table, we have this entry here as well. So we didn't have to create any model, we didn't have to create interface, we didn't have to create any connection point. We just click on these actions and everything is done by the Appian. It created the data for you, it created the actions for you, it created the interface for you. Now, is it like we cannot modify the things? No, we can modify, we can customize the interface that Appian has created based on our own requirement. It has given everything to you. You can make the changes. We can keep the name as add reference data here. And if you want to modify some changes here, then that is also, you can do that. Checkbox field, right? Checkbox fields we have. If you want to have some make changes here, you can do that. Choice style, we have a field called choice style. Let's say choice style. By default it has let's say I'm going to with the card. If I want to make that changes, save the changes, code change, and then if you go here and click on add reference, then now you see that. Okay, one second. Save now. So it says add reference data. I have this is active as a card. Now we can have add categories. What else? Let's say we have want to add one more for account type. Account type. I will say saving. Okay. So Appian just gives you everything. It's create the process model. It's create the interface. If you want, you can also make some changes. Okay, you can customize it. Now that was the interface that we have seen that it created by itself. Let me quickly show you the process model. So this is the process model that Appian has created. If you want to do certain changes, you can definitely do that. Right? So that's how Appian is very quick, in terms of let's say if you wanted to showcase a business that how quickly you can do the create an update, right? It generates everything for you and you can make it work. All right. Any question till here, guys?
I have a quick question for you have created the interface, right? For each interface, you need the process model. So interface is nothing but like an admin form right now, right? So do
No,
we need like a process model?
no. See, it depends. What is your requirement? If you want to process the data what you are going to receive from the interface, then you can create a process model, right? If you want to just to display purpose, some graphical representation of the data, some tabular form, you need a process model. Maybe one process model may
Okay.
have more than one interface. Maybe one interface may have multiple child interfaces, right?
Okay.
Right. Got it, guys? That's how we showcase the business. They say that okay, you see, this is my data. I want to quickly how quickly you can create an application for me that I can go and take an action on this data in Appian. So what they do, they quickly design the data model, add their data to the database, and then they quickly create this record type, and everything is ready. And you can also do the customization with some small code changes. Right? Don't worry, we will see how the process model gets created, how the interface gets created. I'm just giving the one quick view how this Appian creates everything for you, and you can also do the customization. Okay. Now another example, let's say I want to have one more record action, and this time I want to go with the update. Okay, create with C. Now we see the update. I'll say generate. So right now what is happening whenever it's creating an object, Appian is going to create any object, it's saving it to my work ID sandbox environment because that's how they have designed it. But in your actual application, if you create anything inside your application, it will be get created there itself. Okay. Now see that when I created the update one, it comes under the related action, not under the record action. So this is one of the famous questions. What are the type of actions we have in record? They say, just to confuse you, because people may say that okay, we create only the actions in Appian. What do you mean by the type? So there are two types: record action and related action. So related action, if you want to take action on any existing data, any particular record, then we create a related action. Now you see that update we will do on a existing data. However, the record action does the new data. We are going to create a new set, right? So that's a record action. We are going to create a new record. But here we are going to take an action on the existing record. So it's a related action. Okay. So Appian created few objects. Let's see what are the objects it created. It created one interface and one process model for update. So let's move this to our environment first of all. You don't have to do it when you work on your actual environment. Okay. Now same thing. How do we know what is the action I can take and how? So record action, you can see it right away on the UI on the record page. But if you want to update any record, you need to get inside that record. So if you go inside this record, we have created one link here and go to the related action, you will be able to see that action has been created for updating it. If you click on it, it will bring the data in the editable form, and if you want to make some changes, you can do that. Let's say I want to make that is active as false. Save it. Now if you go to this record, you see that for this one is active is being crossed. So all this UI, all these actions is being created by Appian. Till now we haven't written any single line of code, right? Any questions? I'm amazed why you guys are not asking where is the UI for this grid, what is the search filter, how it gets created, what is these icons. Either you know about it, either you don't want to know about it, right? So whenever we create an Appian record, Appian gives you many things, as an out of box feature, like this search field. If you want to search, and this search is not dependent on any other column, it is irrespective of the column. Let's say I want to search for approved, right? I get the data for approved. Let's say I want to search for 4, so I'm getting all the options as a 4. You know why? Do we have 4 available in all the columns? Again. Yeah. So it is irrespective of the columns that we have it. Now what is this download icon? Initial days we had to do a lot of coding to download the data set in a Excel sheet. Now Appian gives you the out of box feature where you don't have to write a single line of code. You just simply click on it and it will download the data for you. Whatever you are seeing on the UI, it gets downloaded. Let me share my screen back if you want to see it. Excel sheet. You see that? So this data is being get downloaded to the system. Okay. Any questions? Till now we haven't written any code, right? And we have all these options. We have these filters, we have this refresh. Filters is like, let's say you want to always wanted to filter as on a status, if you want to keep it. So I'll say status search, I'll get the only status filter. What I'll do, I'll just go manage filter and save filter as, I'll say status. And if you want to set as a default, just leave the checkbox check and click on save. Now what it will happen, whenever you will come to this record, it will have this status filter and you will see it here. If you remove it, it will be gone. Now if you just want to have the filter, you don't have to type it, click on it. Okay, so you can create the filter list as well based on your requirement. It's very small, then you are not seeing the value out of it, but think about the huge amount of data if we have it in the record, and then you only want to work with some particular record. so you can have it ready. You don't have to do it all the time. Clear? What is this link? How it's working? It's a record link that Appian has created. So whenever you click on this link, what it does is that it opens the summary page of this record. Now, if you want to design a summary page of your record, that is also you can do it. Appian will create an UI for you. For that, just go to the views and say generate the record view. I have only this NAOP reference data. Yeah, just click on next. Give the name as a summary by default. Select the application. I want to put it inside my new account opening process. The object set will get created and hit next. So what it says I'm going to create a new interface and I'm going to use this folder to save that interface, generate the view. Close it. Now save the changes. Now if you go here and click on the refresh again, now we see that the summary page has been designed for you. What's the category, who updated it, who modified it, what's the status, when it was created, when it was modified, all the data is coming from the database. So we created design. If you go back to your application, you will see that a summary page has been designed. Okay, any questions? So this is how Appian is very quick in terms of creating a record and then getting the values from one page. And you know what, it's not like only for database. If you want to create a record from any third party, initial things will be different, like how to get the data from the third party, the configuration. Once you get it, everything is same. You can quickly create, update, delete everything. Okay, so that's how Appian works quickly with the records. Questions, guys? So as we have seen that, right now we haven't written a single line of code, but we have everything ready for us, right? So this I just wanted to show you that how quickly you can design everything. But as we are here to learning purpose, so now onwards, whatever we'll do, the things like for creating the customers record and everything, we'll design it from manually. We'll see how do we design the interface for customers onboarding, how do we enable the search feature for the customers, right? Conditionally, we need to design the UI. If the customer is available, then we don't have to have the create customer page. If it's not, then we have to have the create customer page, right? All those things we need to see how do we do that. So think about the UI. So let's say I visited the bank and I want to say, can you please create a new account for me? How you will proceed? As a banker, what is the first thing you need? Is that a question from IIT? I'm just asking, if as a banker, what you will do? What is the first step you will take? If I visited the bank and say that I want an account, saving account.
we'll give a form and ask the customer to fill the basic details.
Right. The first question, can it be like, do you have an account with us already? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if they say, yeah, I have an account, I already have, account here. So, okay, that's fine. Then I'll search for that customer. Okay, this is the details. I search for it, and then I get the account. I hit next, then I should be getting a new account opening process form. However, if the customer is a new, then first we have to onboard him. First we have to create the details for customer details, add the customers, and then go with the new account opening process, right? Okay, so that was our requirement. We'll start designing the UI according to that from tomorrow onwards. But do you guys have any question in the record? We'll create more records. At least I don't know, not sure, but maybe creating 5 to 6 records. Now all the records we will be creating it manually. So as of now, just to know what record can do you have any question? No? All right, let's connect tomorrow then, and then we can continue for the our customer creation page, and then new account opening process. First of all, we need a search feature, and what else we need a customer record. Right now we don't have the customer record, so first what we'll do, we'll create a table for the customer by using the record, and then we'll have some data in that. We can use the existing feature, or maybe if you want we can create a new customer UI as well. We'll add some customer details, and then once we add it, then we will see how to search for that customer. Okay, make sense?
Okay, Ravi.
All right, then let's connect tomorrow same time. Thank you.
Thanks, Ravi.
Thanks all.